In July of 1998, the STARS team was dispatched to the Arklay Mountains to investigate a series of bizarre deaths. Within the span of a few months, only a few members remained alive. So just what happened to the members of the STARS Alpha and Bravo teams? Well, in order to find out, I did some digging. And today, I intend to reveal the fate of each member of STARS. STARS, Special Tactics and Rescue Service, was split into two teams, Alpha Team and Bravo Team, each consisting of 6 members. Starting with Bravo Team, we have Enrico Marini, Team Captain, Richard Eichen, Communications, Rebecca Chambers, Medic, Edward Dewey, Pilot, Forrest Speyer, Sharpshooter, Kenneth J. Sullivan, Chemist. In Alpha Team, we have Albert Wesker, Team Captain, Barry Burton, Weapons Specialist, Joseph Frost, Vehicle Technician, Chris Redfield, Sharpshooter, Jill Valentine, Locksmith, Brad Vickers, Pilot. On the 23rd of July, 1998, Bravo Team entered the Arklay Mountains. This was the last day the entire team was together alive. While flying above the Arklay wilderness, the team's helicopter experienced engine trouble, forcing them to make an emergency landing. Leaving behind Kevin Dooley, a pilot for the RPD, the team split up to explore the surrounding area. Picking up the trail of a very dangerous escaped convict, they made it their priority to locate him. Not long after beginning their search, we have our first casualties. Edward Dewey, while searching for the convict, Billy Cohen, ran into a pack of zombified dogs. Unable to take them all on, he attempted to flee onto a train, but it was too late. His wounds were too great. And that is where he died, on board the Ecliptic Express. 3 members of Bravo Team found a mansion in the forest, which they decided to investigate. These members were Forrest Speyer, Kenneth J. Sullivan, and Richard Eichen. It is unknown for sure, but very likely they split up to cover more ground. Forrest Speyer made his way to the East Terrace, overlooking the forest, where he was attacked by a murder of T-virus carrying crows. Pecked nearly to death, Forrest was rendered unconscious until his zombification, leaving it to either Jill or Chris of Alpha Team to lay him to rest. It is unknown for sure which of the two actually did the deed. This was the last of the possible deaths to occur on the 23rd. Some time later, either late on the 23rd or early on the 24th, Rebecca Chambers and Enrico Marini also made their way to the mansion. July 24th, 1998. STARS Alpha Team is sent into the Arklay Mountains to investigate the disappearance of Bravo Team. After locating the wrecked helicopter of Bravo Team, Alpha Team lands to investigate, leaving behind Brad Vickers, the helicopter pilot. The rest of the team began to search the forest. Joseph Frost, while searching for the missing members of Bravo Team, encountered a pack of zombified dogs. It is quite possible this is the same pack that Edward Dewey encountered. Overwhelmed by their numbers, Joseph was swarmed and devoured by the pack. Alerted by the struggle, the remaining members of Alpha Team ran from the pack into the same mansion that the remaining members of Bravo Team had made their way into. Upon arrival, signs of a struggle led Alpha Team members to discover the corpse of Kenneth J. Sullivan. Who had been killed and was being consumed by a zombie. Out of all the members of STARS, it may be Richard Eichen who suffered the worst fate. After arriving at the mansion with Kenneth and Forrest, and reuniting with Rebecca Chambers, the two of them encountered a giant poisonous snake. Bitten and badly poisoned, Richard was saved by Rebecca, and a member of Alpha Team, but he would not last much longer. Reports are conflicting. Some say he was swallowed whole by a giant snake. Others say a giant shark. Either way, he had made a bad habit of trying to save his friends. Some time later, an injured Enrico was found in the catacombs under the mansion by members of Alpha Team. However, his fate took a turn for the worse, as he had found evidence that proved Umbrella was responsible for the monsters in the forest, and thus all of the civilian and STARS casualties. In an attempt to cover this up, Albert Wesker, Alpha Team's captain and traitor to STARS, shot and killed Enrico to silence him. With the death of Enrico, Rebecca Chambers was now the only remaining member of Bravo Team. Rebecca, along with the other remaining STARS members, discovered a secret lab where Albert Wesker revealed his plan to lure them into the forest to test his bioweapons. Ironically, this is where Wesker met his end, when one of his bioweapons went rogue and killed him. But did Wesker really die that night? His body was never recovered. Brad Vickers, who had taken to the sky, presumably to avoid monsters, recovered Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, Barry Burton, and Rebecca Chambers, the only remaining survivors of STARS. But it doesn't end here. After a couple of months of trying to get the truth out, the STARS team was officially disbanded, as corrupt people on the Umbrella payroll did everything they could to cover it up. The final death of a STARS member occurred around September 29th, when Brad Vickers met his end at the hands of Nemesis, a bioweapon dispatched by Umbrella to kill the members of STARS in an attempt to keep them silent. To this day, Jill, Chris, Barry, and Rebecca are still alive. But who knows for how long.